that we're going to drop all the voltage and the voltage is going to be used up. And we'll demonstrate that in a minute with our meter. But let's look at this parallel circuit. Now, our parallel circuit, Ohm's law says that we're going to drop 12 volts down each one of these branches. I don't care if you have one branch or 800 branches. 12 volts is going to get divided down each one of them. Now, as it goes down those branches, it's going to light those bulbs. If I pull one bulb out, the other one's still going to burn because it's on its own circuit. Think of that expensive set of Christmas lights. A little bit better. If you purchase them, you're in good shape. Now, the last circuit we're going to look at, that's a series parallel. And why it's a series parallel circuit is because we threw a resistor in the mix. He's in series with the parallel. Now, the parallel, the Ohm's law is going to still be the same. We got our voltage down here, and our amperage down this circuit is going to be determined by the resistance value of the bulbs, all right? Now, I can take this resistance and I can vary it. I can turn it up, or I can bring some resistance. Let this switch do resistance. Remember, that's opposition to current flow. He's using up some of the electricity, and these guys are burning dim. Now, we can take our meter, and we can actually prove Ohm's law. Ohm's law states that the voltage drops have to equal the source voltage. So Chase has his meter set up on volts. He's going across the battery terminals. And our meter's showing 12.95 approximately. Then he comes over to the first light bulb. When he goes across the first light bulb, that's measuring voltage drop. What happened is we have 6.35 drop there. So if he goes across his next bulb, we're hoping he has 6.35. or close to it. So all that voltage was used up before it went back home to the battery. If it didn't, that would be a direct short. Now these are good properly operating circuits, but we can take them, short them, have some fun, and look at what bad circuits do.
Now to the fun stuff. Let's go ahead and create a short circuit.
Yeah, there's three types of short circuits we need to look at. The first one's an open, and then we'll look at some shorts. But an open's easy. Demonstrate an open for them.
All right, over here on this board, I'm going to open this switch here, and what that does is create an open. Or you can simply pull a bulb, that's an open. Or a cut wire's an open.
Anything that electron flow stops, that's the end of that. That's an open circuit. Now the other two, a little more difficult. We have a short. We can have a short to power, or we can have a short to ground. When I think about a short to power, I like to think about copper to copper, copper touching copper. And if you take that wire and you reach and you short that bulb out over here, what happens? Electricity's lazy. It's going to take the path of least resistance. So what it does is it all runs through that bulb and the other bulb went out. Now they're hard to detect. That's where your components may work or not work. Depending on the fuse in the circuit, will depend on if the fuse blows or not. It's just how many amps it's going to draw. Now our other one, a little easier to detect. That's a short to ground. We're talking about copper to steel. Now if you come over, we have protection devices. Three types of protection devices. We start out here with a fuse, then we're going to move on to a circuit breaker, and then from the circuit breaker we're going to show you a fusible link. We'll start out with the fuse. The fuse is a one-time protection device. It's rated by amps, the amps. Anytime we go short to ground, you're going to run the amps so fast through that circuit, it's going to create heat. When it creates heat, there's no opposition to current flow, it's going to blow that fuse. So if you watch closely, you just take that circuit and purposely short it to ground, and that fuse blows. No lights, that's it. You're done with that circuit. You need to go ahead and find out where the short is and repair it. Now, our next one's a circuit breaker. He's a resettable device, if you will. He will open. What he is he's actually a bimetallic piece here. This bimetallic piece is going to heat up. It's going to open. Once it cools down, it closes the circuit again. Think about mechanical resistance, something that's causing a lot of amps to flow. That's going to do that. So if you come over and you short him to ground, what's going to happen here is he's actually going to cut the lights out. Now if you wait a minute, what's going to happen is cools down and the lights come back on. Now our last protection device, that's a fusible link. That's a one-time protection device too. That's going to burn. That's 4 AUG American wire gauges smaller than the wire it's protecting. Okay, so remember, the bigger the number, the smaller the wire. So if we're dealing with a 16 gauge wire, you're dealing with a 20 gauge fusible link. That's usually up under the hood, somewhere before we get to the fuse block. Starters, alternators, a lot of times are protected by fusible links. And we'll burn that in a minute because that's a lot of fun. Now remember, all these circuit faults, all the space electrical is critical to understand and fix cars. This Volt over here, he's full of electric. Matter of fact, he runs off electric. So if you understand the basis of electricity, you can fix anything. Chase, why don't you show us a little bit of fun and burn this fusible link? Go ahead and hook up your battery, then take your jumper wire, simply go across the hot terminal directly to ground, and there it goes. You took a good look at basic electrical, all the way from the atoms to circuit intent. Everything you need to know to fix a car professionally. You need to know about circuit design, circuit intent, breakers, wires, everything.